So my name is Louise Beaumont. I have 3 roles all around open banking. So the first of them is to work with the Publicis Group as an advisor, advising not just them but also their clients, so the banks, on the potential of open banking. So the imagination piece, what could it really mean for consumers and for small businesses? And what impact does this have on their brand, on their marketing, their communication, the services you design, and how you engage consumers with those services? So that's the imagination piece, the potential of open banking. Second job is with Tech UK, where I co-chair their open banking working group. And that's a bit about bringing the technology industry together to influence policy, so that the potential, the imagination is at least realized at the policy level. We have the groundwork in place to be able to deliver the potential. And the third job, very prosaically, is to work on the Open Bank Implementation Entity, the snappily titled Open Bank Implementation Entity in the UK, which does exactly what it says on the tin. It's got to make sure that the foundations are in place. And my view is make sure that the dream is not compromised from the get-go. So those are my 3 roles. I'm here at Sibos to kind of temperature test where we are as an industry or on this open banking piece, and to understand really have people moved beyond thinking it's about regulation, it's about technology, and it's about the holy grail of APIs, because all 3 of those things are a tiny part of a much bigger potential. And it's a human characteristic to try and carve out the smallest possible opportunity from the greatest possible potential. And I keep trying to raise people's eyes up to look at the potential here, which is about delivering highly personalized, predictive, preemptive services effectively to a market of one, services that flow and flex around the individual dynamically, and actually where, if we get it right, inertia doesn't deliver you of worse services, but better services, the best services, because services come to you. So I think open banking is something that most banks have been pressured into by regulation. So I think there are 4 main drivers behind open banking, and you're absolutely right, competition is one of them. The tech titans, absolutely, and I'll come back to that in a moment. Also the fintech companies, but thirdly the data players. So those are companies which have huge quantities of data on another aspect of that individual or small business's lives, which, if added to banking data, gives you a more rounded view of that individual, and where, if you dive into that data, that cross-section of data, you can uncover new, unmet or underserved needs. So I think competition is a huge driver in this space. But most of the big banks have had to have been backed into this by regulation. They weren't doing it spontaneously. BBVA is often held up as the example that moved early and moved fast in this direction, because it recognized innovation was something which you open yourself up to. So I think that actually you've got those 4 drivers. Regulation is one of them, but consumer behavior absolutely huge in terms of adopting new services. We're trained to do so. New competitors and the technology which makes it possible. But for the banks, they've got to comply first and then build a better future. And the question is, how many of them want to do that, and how many of them want to do it really actively?